the hang of this now. Hello, me old China.
Copenhagen.
How we doing?
Welcome, folks. Oh, we're not doing too badly. We're just waiting for our news to come in.
Welcome, everyone. I am starting to feel a Northern Ireland winter, Ragz. Look, I'm sat here in a beanie hat, hoodie, and it's flipping freezing. And this isn't really even started yet, is it?
Yeah, we are started. I just had another.
No, not the stream. The winter. You're not even listening, are you?
No, I'm trying to sort this out here. Go a bit. So, no, we're waiting on our guest coming in. I sent them the links and bits and pieces, but I still.
Do you know what I've got going on in my? No, I'm using different buds tonight because the other ones are just, they get quieter and quieter. In my right ear, you know that old sound you used to get when the mobile phone interrupted the speaker? You get that. I've got that going on. I didn't feel that existed anymore. And in my left ear, it sounds like you're speaking down. Sounds like you're speaking down a plastic tube because I've still got a sinus infection that's blocking that ear.
Yeah.
So I am slowly breaking apart. Not as fast as you though. I'll give you that.
Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, still here. What's up?
No, I'm just checking. I'm getting a humming noise in my earphone. I'd rather play it through the
Should
speaker.
have bought that bird. Hello, Louis. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Louis, picking gas. Steve Craig, and who else?
Hey, Mr. Craig.
Stuart, unloved Otto. He's not unloved at all. Everybody loves Otto.
No, that's a trading description breach. That is that name because he might feel it, but he's not.
Steve Shaw's and too. Oh, we're kicking off with 24. But right now, where was I? We were supposed to have Chief Moody on. I don't know if he's running late because I've messaged him a couple of times. I haven't seen hide nor hair of him, so we will kick off.
Right, I know. I will say I know. In his Telegram group, he cancelled his usual Sunday slot. So I don't know if that's got any bearing on. Wow, we're not seeing it.
Right. Maybe something's happened. I'm not too sure, but we can continue on. I'm going to.
I'm sure we can wing it and maybe open up the
open up
the line. Yeah.
I've got another couple of good ones here.
So, is there any other news that was piqued your interest this week, Mr. Ragz?
Yes. Everybody that donated, I am massively grateful for, because I get my new aluminium super duper wheelchair on Tuesday.
That's awesome. I would also do that shout out at the end of the stream as well, when you might pick up a few more stragglers, just so that message gets conveyed out to all the listeners, which we're very grateful for anyway. I mean, I wouldn't tune into me. But yeah, that's really awesome because food community and giving back, paying forward, whatever you want to call it. You've got an awesome member of our community out who's going through a bit of a struggle and adjusting, which he's doing. I speak to the guy 2-3 times a week, and takes a lot of mental fortitude. I think Ragz would be the right way to put it.
Oh, you have no idea.
Because I think you always knew it was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was just the final hurdle of the acceptance, I guess, of like, I'm gonna need some help here. Mandalee, hello, darling.
Amanda, I only have eyes for you, Amanda. I stole them off a Chinese man, but they're yours if you want them.
Well, you can't see much out of them then. Listen, it's an old Andrew Dice Clay joke. He goes, they give those Chinese people driving licenses. He goes, you can blindfold them with a piece of dental floss. He goes, and they give these motherfuckers driving licenses.
You can't say that. That's crazy racism.
Oh yeah, no. I was quoting another comedian because God forbid someone actually tell a joke nowadays.
Oh, Sensum is in. Sensum is on
Hey,
at 8:30 with DJ. Now I have the link.
Yes, they've got a special guest on, haven't they? I think it's going to be quite an interesting chat from them boys.
I opened Sensum's window, but I cannot see the link for this evening.
What, in Telegram?
No, in YouTube.
Isn't it on DJ's channel? I'm not sure.
I thought DJ was out of minutes. Maybe Sensum was in the chat.
Yeah, well, Sensum's got a hammer anyway, hasn't he? Or a wrench.
He can throw it in there. Right. Now, things that piqued my interest this week, folks. I'm going to show you a wee video. It's from the Irish Freedom Party with Herman. What's that chap's name?
Herman. That is first name.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them comical first names, isn't it? I've always thought of it. I've always made me laugh when someone's called Herman.
Herman Kelly. Right. So
it's not a traditional Irish name, though, is it, Herman?
I don't know, but I think Kelly is.
I mean, okay. Play.
No, I'm just setting it up here. No, that's happening. Irish Freedom Party. What do you see? Now I want the.
Oh yeah.
Tell me.
I've seen a bit of this and it's brutal. I'm just going to grab a beer, Ragz.
That's the wrong one.
That women are being harassed as they walk along the street at night.
Yeah. Another one. Yeah.
And by whom? By gangs of lecherous Muslim males. From Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia, all around the world, they're coming into Ireland, claiming to be refugees, but we know they're fake refugees and they are simply economic migrants coming to milk Ireland for what they can. And it's causing women to be harassed in the street and fights between the local men. And do you know what? We're stupid because we're killing the golden goose, which is the Irish tourism industry. The tourism sector gives people, importantly, gives jobs to local people. It produces taxes to pay for public services. We must be crazy. The government are making a very bad decision to destroy our tourism sector, to give free stuff to fake refugees from around the world. Irish Freedom Party, our solution would be to close the borders to these fake refugees and economic migrants, deport all people who we find here to be here illegally. Irish nationals should have priority in Ireland and not fake refugees from around the world who are here just to milk the system. the whole thing about the relationship between.
Unbelievable, Jeff. Did you see that girl? Like, it had happened to her 100 times before. She just kind of like shrugged him off and just carried on eating. Yeah, you're on mute. That's better. Now you're back in the room. Yeah, it just looked like that had happened to her 100 times before. And then just take that tiny little jigsaw piece of the puzzle. Yeah, they absolutely are. Fake UGs doesn't have the impact sensor. I don't think it's like I don't know. Is he trying to be shocking for shocking's sake? That's what they are. They're illegal invaders. That's just a snapshot of what's going on in all the industrial towns, old industrial towns of England. Well, even in Oxford, places like that, places that are known for academia. It's happening. It's happening to all different walks of life, but it's predominantly affecting the working class because that's where they end up, having these enclaves of people, of these people who have no right and should not be here, be removed.
But they're literally geniuses. We need these people on our.
I know.
Where do you see? You ready?
Yeah.
Wrong one.
আমার ব্যবসাটা তো এরকম না যে রাস্তার পাশে একটা দোকান কাউন্টারে দোকানদারি করতেছি কাউন্টারের পাশে গাড়ির পেছনদার হাউস কাস্টমার এরকম এলাকার কাস্টমার পরিচিত কাস্টমার মন রক্ষা করে চলতো হ্যাঁ করো হ্যাঁও আমার মন রক্ষা করে চলতো এর লিগেই ঈদের পরে চাইলেও বন্ধ রাখা যায় না
I sent you that. I sent you that. I sent you that clip. Now, obviously, that's a gas explosion ignited by a spark in that hairdryer, right? That's my take to that. Yeah, that's insane. They couldn't smell that. Do they not have put stenching agents in their natural gas? Well, if it was natural gas, I'm sure it was.
I thought it was sort of the thing when he switched it on. The electrical motor started up. What was ever in the atmosphere lit, ignited.
Yeah, it's crazy, mate. Turkish barbers are just a fucking front for trying to swear too much. So Turkish barbers are just a front, a money laundering front anyway. The car washes, sweet shops.
Albanians, the works. No, they
are. Was it 2%? I think you might have covered it last week. 2% of between 1 and 2%. Let me use their language. Between 1 and 2% of all adult males in Albania are currently in. Ragz, people not see your ears? Yeah, they're quite prominent. I wouldn't say they're hiding. 1 to 2% of all Albanian males, so over the age of 18, are currently in the UK.
What do you call it? The golden gatekeeper, I call Nigel Farage. He actually done an hour, maybe I think a 90-minute session on it during the week on that GB News. I don't trust that GB News anyway, but and they had footage of them with suitcases full of money laundering it out of the country.
Yeah, I've seen that. And there's that geezer who did the expose on all the sweet shops, the giant American sweet shops up in London, on very prominent places. They used to be full of the tour.
Oh, the chat's on fire tonight, just like your man's hair.
Very good, ugly truth.
There's our mate 42 in. He had a great stream last night.
Even 42, brother. Yeah, you thrown me off my train of thought there, ugly truth. That was a good one. Put that one back up. He deserves credit for that one. Brilliant.
Have you seen this one?
I'm running to serve Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it is. I said I sent that to another group I'm in. And I was like, you know, when God has other plans.
Even,
I mean, I was saying to this to you. We were talking. I was talking to you about this when we were having one of our evening chats while I'm waiting for my lift in the evening. We were talking about that guy in the week. Do you remember, Betterman?
Yeah.
And I was saying to you, it's like Biden. Like I find it very hard to feel sorry for these lizards, right? Because they put their head above the parapet, so they deserve all the slings and arrows that they get, right? But like that guy had a stroke 5 months ago, and no one around him, his wife, his friends, his family, his doctor even said, yeah, he's totally fit to work. And is it a governor? Is it a gubernatorial he's running for?
He was a mayor of some town.
Yeah, was it Braddock or something? And I've heard that he absolutely fucked that town up.
He destroyed it. There's a third of the population left. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I know 42 keeps.
So Pennsylvania.
That
was where is that one of the Appalachian states?
No.
Geography's not that good, but I know that they there was all the drift mines in Pennsylvania, coal mines and stuff.
Excuse me, John. I'm the bigot here. I'm the racist apparently.
I don't think he's denying that. I don't think he's saying, "Oh, hit the button, all you bigots," apart from Ragz.
I can hardly hit my own like button, can I? That would be a bit stupid. We're here for entertainment purposes only. Some of the stuff we put up is just nuts.
When I'm probably going to get parts of this story wrong, so I'm not going to go into like major detail of that. But the word bigot, right? They used it they anachronized it, and they used it in like a pun way. This was the beginning of the SAS in World War II. You know, your Paddy Mayne, you know your lad Paddy Mayne, the Irish guy who pretty much founded the SAS, right? Yeah. They called themselves the bigots because they classed themselves as behind inside German occupied territory, BIGOT.
Yeah, but
they called themselves the bigots.
SAS was formed from the desert rats, North Africa. I think it was 39 to 45, or 40 to 45. I can't remember. The North African campaign. There's an Irish guy on Telegram, and he's bloody brilliant.
Not the Irish Git, is it?
The Irish Git.
He's bloody brilliant, isn't he? It's total Irish humour for a start. It's very unique to Ireland, that humour. You're going to play some?
With actual facts. I have two here for you.
Have you seen The Elephant in the Room? 23rd of October. Horror as 15-year-old boy collapses and dies in Brown's restaurant while out with family and friends. Are you ignorant to The Elephant in the Room? Radio DJ dies of heart attack on air. Are you being reluctant or denying The Elephant in the Room? Researchers investigate frightening numbers and causes of cardiac arrest in younger Australians. Maybe you're avoiding The Elephant in the Room. 24th of October. Rugby player dies on the field after collapsing during Centennial celebrations match in New Zealand. Perhaps you know all about The Elephant in the Room and are just being silent. Doctors are baffled after 18-year-old athlete suffers cardiac arrest during tennis practice. That's The Elephant in the Room, brought to you by Pfizer and Moderna.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, very good.
I was just catching up on the chat there. No, he is brilliant. What else did he come out with?
Former HSE boss Paul Reid to work with global consultancy firm EY. It may come as no surprise that EY and its chairman and CEO are part of the World Economic Forum. And Dr. Ronan Glynn, who has recently left the HSE, has also took up a new position with the company EY. In Ireland, we have a health service that's in critical condition. We have over 1 million people on waiting lists. Our hospitals are understaffed and overcrowded. During the COVID scam, the HSE received hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money. Where did that money go? Not even one ICU bed was added to any hospital. And now a global consultancy firm want to hire two Muppets that contributed to this crisis and destroyed our HSE. That makes zero sense, right? Well here, this might help you connect the dots. The HSE spent almost €18 million on consultancy firm during pandemic. And what exactly would that firm be? You guessed it, Consultants EY. To cut a long story short, basically the two boys here helped rob the Irish taxpayer, launder money with a company EY, and then under the innocent guise of employment, the two boys go and collect their percentage for their part in the crime. But hey, they're in suits, so it's okay.
Yeah, very good.
Ta-da! And he arrives. Good evening,
Hey.
Chief.
Hi, how you guys doing? I do apologize for being late. Almost completely forgot about tonight's stream, so I really do apologize for that. But I'm here now, so
Better late than never. Better late than never, Chief. Don't you worry about
Yeah.
it. It's good to talk to you finally, man.
yeah, same
Oh,
here, same here. Mhm.
We're just entertaining the troops on the auspice that you're coming in, and if you didn't come in, we'd have just done an open mic night, and somebody would have jumped in Packer or 42. Or...
So, first of all, Chief, how are you doing, mate? How you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been pretty busy as of late, which is why I couldn't do a stream today or even this past Thursday. But other than that, yeah, I've been okay. Yeah, I'm still quite buzzing ever since the PA conference happened.
That's what I was going to ask. That was quite recently, wasn't it? Was it last week?
It was last week, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, how did it go? Tell us how it went.
Yeah, so it went pretty well, and no any issues or anything like that at all. It was a grand day for everyone. Even now, I keep hearing about people had a fantastic time at the conference there. PA themselves even did a stream earlier today where they streamed all the speeches that occurred. So the speeches included Laura Tallers, Alec Yerbury's, Steve Blake, Steve Laws, and also finally Mark Collett. All speeches, of course, were fantastic. My favorite speech of the night for me was actually Steve Laws' speech. Well, even besides the speech, it was actually, yeah, of course, I know the wallpaper. Yeah, I know.
You're never going to live that down, mate.
I'm never gonna let that down now. But no, I was pleasantly surprised to see Steve Laws. I never thought he was actually the last person I would have expected to arrive at a PA conference. But it was nice nonetheless that he appeared, and the speech he gave. I don't know if everyone else has seen it, but it was fantastic. As I said, it was actually my favorite speech of the PA conference so far. So.
Well, LT had one running on. It was Laura Trader's channel, but it was Big Sam that was presenting it, and it was the small guy with the suit speech. What was his name?
Oh, was it Andreas? Is his name?
Andreas.
He's from Northern Frontier. Yeah.
He has no notes. He just reels it off. And
yeah, that's talent, right? Just going for it without any notes.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to. He has
speaking. Yeah, if you're speaking from the heart, speaking from your knowledge and stuff. Right? So Lawsy's speech then, was it focused on like the Dover situation, seeing as he's like so sort of, that's what most people know Laws. I don't think I'm speaking out of terms here, but most people know from in this sort of movement is citizen journalism, which is fantastic because no one else was doing it down in Dover. Was he focused on that?
Yeah, I think from his speech, I think that's what he was mainly focusing on. Like the other aspect of his speech was more about just him being like a citizen journalist type of idea, and of course talking about the migrant issue we're facing just now. Even during the speech, of course, people can listen back to it if they want to. There was points in the speech where he talks about the estimations of how much money it was costing for the taxpayer for these migrants to live in these hotels, especially receiving all kinds of accommodations like Domino's Pizza and all of that, which is absolutely just ridiculous. So yeah, it was really just pointing out all the stuff that happened when he was covering all that stuff going on. But yeah, it was just really fantastic stuff with that. So yeah, again, I was just really happy to see Steve Laws. So again, he was like the last person I would have expected to be at a PA conference, but yeah.
No, Steve Laws got the figures, I think, 3 months in.
Yeah.
And the actual British government, our government, with our money, had spent 760 something thousand pounds on Domino's pizzas. in 3 months.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It is crazy. I mean, like, it's been highlighted a lot, hasn't it? It's become a very mainstream issue, almost mainstream issue these last couple of weeks. What we've, not always for the right reasons either, because you've even got, forget the Conservatives, but you've got half of them turning on Braverman, who called it an invasion. He called it what it was, and it's had to. I don't know if she's apologised for that. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any follow up with her, but I hope she doesn't. But
if I set this up and pause it and stuff, I know what you're saying. Is this the first time at the VA?
Sorry, what was that you said, Ragnar?
You've got a bit mumbly. You've got your
it's
mic.
like,
Is that better?
You were really clear before.
That's better.
Yeah, that's better. You were really clear. Yeah. Go for it, mate. Say that again.
It's one of them directional mics, and if you're not facing it, it doesn't work. I'm going to share.
All right, show off.
I'm going to share this video I got from Chief Moody today.
Okay.
And I want Chief Moody to chat us through it. So if I do.
Oh, here we go.
Does an excellent show, but he's not just an e-celeb. He's not somebody who just seeks to produce shows on Odyssey and YouTube. He's not somebody who just wants to talk about issues. This is a very brave young man who not only talks, but acts. He's a guy that is new to this movement, but he's already bridging the gap between online content creation and real world activity. I think he's a fantastic guy. This is his first time speaking at a national event like this. So would you please give Chief Moody a warm round of applause?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all very much for coming to this PA conference. This would be my second one. Before I want to start my speech, I just want to say, as Mark pointed out, I do have a podcast going on YouTube. Right now, all I'm thinking of just now is I wish I was behind a keyboard and a monitor. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I'll get started. But actually, before I get started, actually, I have 3 rules for myself when it comes to this speech, since, of course, being my first one. Let's see. So, rule number 1, just put it here. Make a joke about keyboards and monitors, which already did that, so check. Rule number 2, stay calm, keep your composure, and try not to stutter during your speech. I mean, I'm already shaking just now, but I'll try, What? Finally, rule number 3, please, Moody, for the love of God, do not swear or use profanity during your speech. Anyone who knows me online, I do swear quite a lot, so code of conduct, yeah. Right, then let's... Hold on.
Are you sort of nervous during that, or?
I would say beyond nervous during that first part. So prior to that, I was Mark pretty much asked me if I could do a speech. Actually, even before then, he asked me out of the blue. I was at work at the time, and I think it was at my lunch break or something like that. Mark messaged me out of the blue asking, "Or are you coming to the spring conference in March?" I was like, it was a bit of a weird question because I would have thought you would have known that already, but I said to him, yeah, well, I'm definitely coming. And then he responded with, would you like to give a speech at the conference? I was like, sorry, I might be punked right now. It's just like the invitation he asked for the PWR appearance. I was just like, wait, really? of all the people you ask on the show, you want to have me on, but all right, fair enough. So I accepted the offer, and yeah, I would give a speech at the conference. So then for me, it came up with the idea of, well, what exactly am I going to talk about? Because I wasn't exactly too sure. I never gave a public speech before, so I was kind of figuring out what to really talk about. So I would ask people around, like Mark and Laura, well, is there anything you guys want me to talk about? And they kind of gave me ideas, and maybe even to the point where they're like, well, why don't you just talk about your experience of how you got to where you are just now? And I was like, well, it's a bit of a cliche, but I mean, it's better than nothing. And plus, I think prior to that speech, I don't think there was many people that knew who I was. Maybe like a small handful of people, like PA Scotland, for instance. But it might be a good idea to maybe give myself a bit of a more of an outreach during that speech for people to know who I am, basically. So sat down, wrote the whole thing, and I sent it to Laura for a short review. And she came back saying, like, Moody, it's fantastic. People are going to love it. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's good to hear then. So then I think it was maybe a couple of days before the conference. So, of course, I traveled down with the PA Scotland crew. We were heading down to our accommodation. I would be by myself just so I can practice my speech like over and over again. And the more I kept practicing on it, I just thought to myself, you know, actually, yeah, I could do this. Like, you know, I know exactly what to say. Of course, obviously, it's written by me, of course, but I was all prepared for it. And then the day of the conference came around, and we all got there. I was at the front of the stage, so nobody was in at that point. It was just like maybe a small handful of us that were in so far. And I was just getting the feel of the stage kind of thing, because again, I'd never really done anything like that before. And again, I was feeling a bit okay. I was like, yeah, I can still do that. Like, you know, no bother. And then the conference started. Mark gave his speech, of course, being the opening speech for the day. He did his, as you all saw just now, the introduction for me. And that's when the nerves started to kick in, even to the point where I was getting a bit nervous on like where exactly was I going to. So with the conference, there was like two sets of like for seats. There's like a left-hand side, there's like a right-hand side type of thing. And then there'd be like 3 rows of like to walk down or up again kind of thing. And of course, there was like cameras at like each side for the recording aspect of here. So I was just like, oh, well, where am I going to go? Am I going to go here? Am I going to go walk there? And I'm at the far back of the seating area where I was. So when Mark said my name, of course, that was my cue to go down. I just turned to my right, walked down to the stage. I was just power walking all the way down. I'm just like, please don't fuck this up. Please do not fuck this up or whatever. But no, I got there, and yeah, the moment when I stood there in front of the microphones and all of that, that's when the nerves really started to kick in. It was like, oh, this is it. Like this is reality now. This is where I'm going to actually give my speech now. But yeah, like I would say, throughout the speech, I was really nervous doing it because, again, I'd never really done anything like that before. But so yeah, that was going
to be my next question, Chief. Like, was that your first time, like doing a public speech like that?
First ever one, yeah. That was my first ever public speech. Never done it before in my life. Never done it in high school or like college or anything like that at all.
I've seen more nervy people who've been doing it for a lot longer than the first time. You know what I mean? You seem to have it in your stride. You know. So, did you enjoy doing it?
Of course.
Like, yeah. Let me try and give a comparison. I DJ'd for a lot of years, and I remember my first gig I got in front of a crowd. Mm. You know, out of the bedroom into a crowd, and I was just like, I had a few drinks because I was getting real nervous at that, feeling really sick, you know, and I was just like, just get through the first mix, get the first mix nailed, and you're just safe for it, you know what I mean? And it was back in the days of vinyls and all that, where a lot more could go wrong. You haven't got all the tech you've got now. And I remember as it went on, I felt more and more confident, and I got into the role. You know, did you feel that as the time went on and you were getting response to what you were saying?
Yeah, I think I don't want to spoil too much about this speech, but the more I was like speaking and the more like all the points I was making throughout the speech, I remember just feeling like, oh, I'm actually feeling like a lot more calmer now. There were a couple of times where I did kind of stopped in between speeches or just about to say the next line, whatever, and I was just like, all right, what am I going to say? So I would quickly look down the notes and then, of course, read the next part. But other than that, like, yeah, like the more I was reading through it, I was feeling a little bit more, like, more confident, shall we say, for the speech. And
yeah.
Mm.
Do you want me to play any more of it, or are you wait? I've dropped the link in the chat there, Chief, for anybody that wants to go and watch it.
Let people go and discover it. Give Chief Moody a sub and that.
It is pretty long. How long is it? It's nearly 20 minutes. So
that's no mean feat, Chief Moody. So fair play for that, mate. But as cliched as you might think it is, we do like to talk about people's red pill journeys on this stream, especially if you've been on for the first time and that. And I've been listening to you for probably about 16 months now.
All right.
So it was quite early days. Like when I used to be able to interact on the chat, because I watch it on the smart TV now, so I don't chat, you see. But yeah, you sort of, the topics you were talking about was exactly stuff I wanted to talk about. I knew you were like linked with PA. I was a lot more back then, with the Southwest mob down there, and who like to do battle with the Scottish mob for all the all the boasting rights and that, you know.
Right.
You boys do some memorable stuff in there. You've made the press a few times as well, haven't you, with some of your stunts, as they like to call them, but some great activism going on with you guys up there. You've got quite a tight knit community up there, haven't you? There's quite a mob of you know, being focused on one country rather than areas of the country.
Yeah, so with PA, of course, there's different regions all across PA, but I would say with PA Scotland, we're definitely like a very tight group, almost to the point you could say it's almost like a bit of a brotherhood with us. Like we have a lot of commonality. We do get along with each other, and well, I think of all the regional groups, not to toot any horns or anything like that at all, but I think with PA Scotland is a regional group within PA that has garnered a lot of media attention, especially fairly recently with the second PA Scotland conference, how the Daily Record just out of the blue were just like, oh, this is like a convention of hate or something to that effect. It was something that like ridiculous. Of course, they talk about stuff like, Sam Melia being there, how making the claims that he was a former member of National Action, which has all been completely debunked in the past. It was just like, even prior to that, we did a stunt in Glasgow back in I think it was the summer, I think it was. It was myself and a few others that put the signs up like White Lives Matter on like 6 or 7 statues across Glasgow. And of course, that got a bit of a media attention, how it's like, oh, this is like spreading hatred. This is bigoted towards like minorities and all of that. It's just like, well, it's a day for us at the end of the day. Like, it's not about them. It's like, every single time when it comes to white people, we always get treated like as if we're the punching bags of society. So it's about time we maybe go back to the idea of, well, this is a day for us, and also with regard to countries like Scotland or even across the UK or any European nation for that matter. But these are, in fact, white countries, like historically and culturally speaking. So it's about time that we actually bring that forward back into society, and also to say the point about that it's okay to be white, or like white lives do matter with that. And then, of course, even prior to that, I'm sure people will remember this event with the Ben Nevis event that happened. Now, I wasn't there at that day, so I can't really make any say or anything like that at all. But what I did see regarding to the whole Ben Nevis hike that happened was, of course, the media attention that it garnered. A lot of people were saying, again, just the same rhetoric, like, oh, this is hateful, like how dare you say white lives matter, blah blah blah, which then of course brings up the argument of, well, white lives don't matter, take it, or it's just completely ridiculous with that. But
it's the great one I liked with the where people were getting angry with the stickers. That it's quite a clever slogan as well. If it's okay to be white, because it's so non-aggressive, And for people, my hometown of Basingstoke made the news with a couple of those stickers. I think it was English Identity or Identity England or something like that. I'm not, or they might have protested the fact. I don't know if they would actually put the stickers up, but they might have protested. I don't want to be fact checked here, but that made the national news that there was two or three White Lives Matter A4 signs were found up around a college, which gives me slight hope for the future, I guess. But it made national news. But the "It's okay to be white" slogan, like I said, it's so it's not even saying like a White Lives Matter. It's like so it's not okay to be white. It's like a very passive statement, rather than being sort of overtly, some slogans and that can be quite aggressive, can't they? Which I have no problem with either. You've got to get your point across, but for the establishment and the regime to get upset about a few it's okay to be white really shows you what we're up against, I believe.
True. All lives matter in their own homelands, not ours.
Yeah.
If you're anyway religious about ones go on about it all the time. They quote a thing out of the Bible. It says God created lands for his children, homelands for his children, all his children. That was it. Homelands for all his children. In other words, that's yours, that's yours, that's yours, and that's yours. You can read into it that way. Oh, there he is. He was brilliant.
So then, Chief, taking you back a bit then, you've been doing your, what, talk about your red pill journey. So what got you to the point where you're doing a speech at a PA conference? You know, from the podcast, from getting attention from that, from getting some good guests on, having some real good debate, having some great content, great ideas about it, great points of view. And then before that, what were you before that?
So prior to where I am just now, I used to be like a civic nationalist. So I would
Right.
be the type of person who people would say they're more like the center right or maybe the fence setter type of like political spectrum, whatever they want to call it. But I used to support people like Count Dankula, Sargon of Akkad, Tommy Robinson, and all of that. It got to the point where there were points like during 2018, because that's where I pretty much first started doing YouTube as like a civic nationalist type of content creator. But there were, as I said in my speech, there were a couple of debates that occurred that, of course, I watched all the way through, and I'm sure people would remember. But the one first debate that really got me hooked up into the whole idea of like ethno-nationalism was the debate between Sargon of Akkad and Richard Spencer. Now, I know that's a debate that people will, of course, remember fondly, but that was the first debate where, even though I was a civic nationalist, but I remember thinking at the time that, man, like Sargon really didn't do that well in the whole debate. It kind of came off when he was debating Spencer, regardless of what you may think of Spencer now, but he kind of came off as like he was debating some like other SJW type, and of course with people like the alt-right or the far right or the distant right, whatever you want to call them again, were anything but like SJWs or anything like that at all. So that was a bit of a first like wake-up call for me that maybe the ethno-nationalism might be the way forward. But then jumping on to like 2020, so there was two events that occurred that year. So the first being the BLM riots or peaceful protests, but the mainstream media wants to call it as. That was again another big wake-up call for me that maybe, just maybe, that race does play a factor in society and all the problems we're facing just now. And then another debate that occurred that year, which further cements me from being a civic nationalist to being an ethno-nationalist, was the debate between Laura Taylor and Ricky Doolan. Now,
I thought you were going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yes, because that again, it was just another wake-up call for me with that, because Laura Taylor, I watched some of her videos prior to that debate, which I thought were very well done and very well researched, and I was like, yeah, like I might not agree with her, but she does make pretty sound points here. But then that debate came out, and again, Ricky Doolan, again being like a civic nationalist type, and just the way he acted like throughout that whole debate, especially towards the end where he kicked out the moderator whose name escapes me. I think
Simon Sideways.
Simon Sideways. Yeah, so he kicked him out, and I was just thinking, right, at this point in time, you civic nationalists, you're basically no different than a typical blue-haired SJW. So I decided to have a look more into ethno-nationalism much fully, and then I was like, you know what? And I even actually did a stream about this where I made a stream about me changing my politics from being a civic nationalist to now fully embracing ethno-nationalism. And sure enough, I did lose some subscribers because of it. I think there was people that followed me on Twitter that actually unfollowed me because of it. But at the end of the day, for me, what was more important was not only was I actually telling the truth about towards my subscribers, the people that watch my content, but more importantly, I was wanting to be more open and honest with myself, because even though I was a civic nationalist, but all the talking points from the ethno-nationalist side, I was like, yeah, they make a lot of sound points, and at least like Ricky, oh god damn it, god damn it. Yeah, so when it comes to civic nationalists, even though I was part of that side, but all the talking points from the ethno-nationalist side were all pretty sound arguments, and at least from the ethno-nationalist side, at least in some way they had a sense of solution to the problem. Whereas civic nationalists, even now to this day, they'll talk about the problem, especially talking about SJWs and leftists and all of that. They'll talk about them, but never actually want to seem to provide any type of solution to the problem. It's like Mark even made a comment during his recent speech at the recent conference where he pretty much calls them vultures, where they'll just take bits and pieces from the dying body that is the West and then not provide any solution to the problem whatsoever, which he's absolutely dead right on that. Right. So at that point, I really wanted to see a change coming along, and I was sick and tired of the fact that white people are being treated like second-class citizens within their own homeland. And I decided, you know what, I want to see a difference. I want to see a change. And I thought Patriotic Alternative, because I also heard that during that speech as well. And I thought I'll have a look into them. And that was an organization I really wanted to be a part of. So I joined PA, and now I'm an ethno-nationalist. So,
what did you call the other guy? He's a Scottish guy. Was it Unity News?
Unity News Network. Yeah. Is it David?
David Clunes. David Clunes.
Yeah.
Has he come to the dark side?
Well, see, I'm not entirely too sure. I mean, because he was again with the second PA Scotland conference. That was a bit of a surprise for me to see him there, because obviously we have these like surprise speakers coming along with these conferences, and I was pretty surprised that he was coming along. So I don't want to say he is just yet. I think he's at a point where maybe it's almost like baby steps for him, where it's like he's learning about what we believe in. He's understanding that we're not like bad people in any way, shape, or form. So I think he's maybe just slowly but surely coming to our side, but I'm not entirely too sure. So maybe he'll stay as a fence sitter. I don't know, but I think I do hope for a fact that maybe he will come over to our side like fully one day. But I think he's at a point where it's like slowly but surely coming to terms with what we believe in. So.
Yeah, no, I had a video of him there last week, and he was explaining himself for talking at the PA thing and reporting at a PA thing, and then it was my friend Irish Rose that had sent me something on WhatsApp. What was it? The neo-Nazi conference. The newspapers had reported it as. I can't find it now.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was a newspaper article, wasn't it, from last week?
Yeah.
About a hotel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know anything? Have you heard anything on the grapevine, Chief? Was there efforts to get this one shut down? As they tried to do. The best one was when they thought they got it shut down. I have to say.
Back in the Kindle.
Was that March? Was that the one in March?
That one was back
last year.
That was last year. That one, yeah. So
it was actually last year.
Yeah, this time last year. That was actually my first ever PA conference I went to, believe it or not. And
that was. I know things got ugly, halfway through, whatever it was, but not being able to stay the night and stuff. But the fact that they thought they absolutely shut it down, it hadn't happened, and then you got footage and the pictures come out. It was quite a move, yeah.
It was pretty funny looking back on it, even during that day. Like they were all talking like all their bullshit throughout all the day, like, oh, we got the PA conference cancelled, blah blah blah. But then round about, I think it was like 6:30, everyone started posting stuff. Those same people, then they got really quiet after that. They were just because they realized, oh, it actually went ahead. Like, we never stopped it whatsoever. But But I mean, this year there was no any like major problems or anything like that at all. I mean, I think there was like some journalist that was like phoning around like of some places that are, like maybe the area that we were near, but we weren't there. But we were near those areas, but it was just sort of that idea. But But I mean, again, it just goes to show that these types of people, they'll go to any lengths to try and shut down our talking points, which is funny, because if they had their own conference, I wouldn't shut it down, nor I don't think anyone would ever shut it down. We might disagree with that, but we do think that they have a right to have a conference and believe in their own bullshit. But with them, it's like the polar opposite. They just can't seem to fathom the idea of having our opinions be out in the public center, which again just only further proves that all of our talking points, like they don't want the general public to know about that, because those leftists, those labor types, they're the same people that are afraid that if our talking points do become mainstream and out to the general public, then that's when they realize that the general public might actually come over to our side and actually start supporting us. And that's what they're terrified of, and that's why they always want to try and shut them down as best as they possibly can.
Yeah, they've got to keep a very tight stranglehold on any sort of dissident chat. Well, saying that though, I mean, you could call these like radical leftists, the eco-terrorists of that. I suppose they're dissidents to a point, but they're regime enabled, and they've got the support of the establishment. Otherwise, I don't think you should be take those Just Stop Oil idiots, for example, destroying those, not destroying, because I think they've got covers on, making their points by throwing substances and shit. And I think one of them did it. I don't particularly think that. I thought Captain Tom was exploited by the people pushing the pandemic narrative. But there was that young blue-haired fucking coach bolt through the nose. I know everything. I don't know whether it was a dude or a chick, to be fair, but sprayed a load of shit over Captain Tom's memorial.
No, that was good. No, that was a she.
It was a she. Okay. I can't. It's very hard to tell with some of these people.
Then they locked her in a padded cell because she tried to kill herself after that or something. And then after court, she was remanded.
Some salvation isn't required,
Or apparently her father's totally ashamed. He's disowned her, according to the news. So whether that's true,
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that part of the story, to be fair. But there was that other. Was it David Gilmour from Pink Floyd? His son or stepson or whatever was hanging off the cenotaph when they were having a piss up the cenotaph or something. And this was a few years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. But it's always these latte fucking leftists, isn't it, that do the most damage and desecration, I should say, desecration to our monuments and shit like that. So Chief, I want to ask you, have you got real world experience of the decline? Is your town, is your area been hit by the problems of the West?
Yeah, I was just going to say with that, it's actually something I've been noticing fairly recently. So prior to being like an ethno-nationalist, I've always seen how my hometown was like a majority white area. You might have some like minorities here and there, like maybe Chinese or maybe some Pakistanis, but they were like a very small minority. But stereotypes, but yeah, you had the Chinese family running the Chinese takeaway, and you had the Pakistani or the Indian family running the corner shop. That's right. Yeah.
We knew that. They were minorities, and we didn't mind because they were in the minority.
Right. But
you were friends with them. You looked out.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Even
you had the ones that sold Louis motorboats. But.
Oh.
God, yeah. that was awful, but straight from the 80s playground that was.
Yeah.
But like,
we didn't have fear, but that was the jokes we were learning as kids.
Yeah.
But I remember like fairly recently, what I've noticed that there's actually seemed to be a lot more of these immigrants that are coming into were not exactly where I live, but like a town quite near me, and there's a lot more like Somalis, a lot more like Pakistanis, like living in those areas, and I remember thinking, Like the whole migration change might be like maybe a very small gradual change, but it's definitely showing with more of these people coming out of the woodwork. So yeah, I would definitely say like I do have experience of actually seeing that slight change for myself. And even I'm not based in Glasgow or anywhere like that, but you'll definitely see a lot more of that in those major cities. Like I remember I was actually walking through Glasgow late at night because I was just going to get a train back home. And of course, I keep seeing like blacks, like mainly like non-whites, like roaming about. And I remember just thinking, yeah, but this it's slowly but surely no longer becoming a major white city. If I think there's talks about Glasgow becoming a lot more like London in terms of like more and more of these migrants keep coming in, and you could definitely see a change occurring. You could definitely see a change occurring with that.
Yeah, it's a death by 1,000 cuts, but it's being ramped up. I think the last 2016, since Angela Merkel said, "Come one, come all," and they went, "Okay."
And now, what's Germany doing? Germany's handing them money and sending them back.
Well, I watched the thing with Sargon's sidekick that he has on his Local Things podcast. He's over in. He put a video out where he's over in Serbia, along the Hungarian border, and all of these Afghans. You had Afghans, Pakistans, all that that part of the world, come through Serbia to try and get into Hungary, to then go to wherever to get to here. But he was interviewing them, and those that could speak broken English, where do you want to go? It's London. Every one of them, No, one dude said Italy. One dude said Italy. Just in for fairness, yeah. But they've only got one destination in mind, and they've got to cross how many countries to get here? That's not immediately you withdraw your right to refugee status if you've left the first safe country from your supposed country of oppression.
No, but
immediately you've changed your status.
The definition of refugee is you will be harboured in a safe country until it's safe to go back to your own country.
Yeah,
we have
the first safe country.
We have Ukrainians,
not the seventh,
in Sweden, flying back to Ukraine on holidays, videoing themselves out on the lash with the family that night, dancing away and discoing away, and the lights and all going. This place is supposed to be under siege and being bombed to bits, but they're putting videos up. And then you get these other ones in Sweden traveling back to Uganda or the Congo to visit family, all on the Swedish taxpayer, because they're not working. Yeah. Somebody's paying for it,
Yeah.
And England is very quickly becoming the same thing.
Oh, it's a total black hole for taxpayers' money.
Somebody share Toffee's channel in the chat there, please? I've already shared it before, but I don't think he picked it up.
That's only one part of the huge problem. It's a massive part of the problem, but it's one part of the problem. It's the financial black hole.
Do you know who I really blame? That fucker Bob Geldof. Give us your fucking money now. Feed the fucking world. If we hadn't fed them, there wouldn't have been a problem, would there?
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's called natural selection. What's 42 telling us here?
So what have you got coming up in the future, Chief? You've got your podcast, which is you do what is it twice a week you do now?
It's twice a week, yeah. It's every Thursday and Sundays every week, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I thought you'd done a Tuesday, Moody.
Well, the Tuesday time frame, that's only when Jodie is not live on a Tuesday. So there have been a couple of times where she couldn't do a stream, so she would ask me if I could cover her for that time being. I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything on a Tuesday, and I'll definitely help you out with that. So, but from what I know so far is that she's back doing streaming again, and for me, it's back to doing streams every Thursday and every Sunday. So Thursdays are usually 5, 6, maybe 7 p.m. Not entirely too sure with that time frame, but it's definitely on a Thursday. And then Sunday stream usually happens at 5 p.m. every single Sunday.
Jodie does lovely sort of wholesome streams, but she had disappeared there for a fair while. She wasn't doing anything regular, but I do catch up with her when I can.
That's the thing with having a podcast, Chief. Is the dedication to get it done every week as well. You know, it's I mean, what number are you on now? You've hit some quite a lofty height with your number of shows, haven't you?
Yeah, so I think I'm on episode. Well, I've done 120 episodes so far, and if I were to be streaming today, I would have had about 121 episodes done, which I mean it's quite a lengthy number of episodes so far. I never actually thought it would be that much, but I guess with the motivation,
sizable chunk, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a very sizable chunk. So I must be doing something right with that podcast, but yeah.
Do you do any prep for your show?
I do. Yeah, so I do try my best to try and be prepared for the show as I possibly can. There may be times where I might need to maybe do some research prior to the show happening, like say the day before. But if I can't, I'll probably do it like maybe hours before the show started. It's just because I'm normally busy like before the show starts anyway. But I do try my best to be all prepared, and even when I get maybe a small fraction of the information I need, I would maybe just try and wing it as I can. So it's like, with me and my audience, it would be the case of like I would react the same way, or maybe not the same way, but run about the same time as the audience are looking at the news story that I am sort of. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's sort of that idea, that kind of thing, where it's like kind of like going through it like the same time as each other type of idea.
And there's never any shortage of you know the sort of news that we want to bring to people's attention, is there? There probably hasn't been since you started, I imagine. No slow news week, is there?
No, there isn't. No.
Unfortunately, you know that's the case. You know, you just. I often wonder. I sit here on a Sunday now, whatever, on my day off, and just think, what's the next? You know, not even the next week. What's the next 48 hours going to bring? It's just. We literally seem to be living, and again, this is a bit cliche, but it's the whole clown world thing. It's not just based in you know our fears of replacement troops by immigration, proxy by immigration. There's a war on everything, on our culture, on our history. You know, we've one of your fellow countrymen. Do you know Resisting the Lies? Have you spoke to Resisting the Lies?
Yeah, I've spoken to him before. Yeah, DJ. Yeah, I've actually met him in person one time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's quite good on bringing all the information. So I wouldn't know this news unless he dug it out for me. But it's all to do with the Scottish education system and the subversiveness that's going on in that. I know it's sort of countrywide, union-wide, but
no, he concentrates on the SNP and the debauchery that they go through. Like,
yeah.
Like she was brought up in front of a committee, and she sat there at the end of the desk. Now this is supposed to be the First Minister of Scotland, and every question she was asked, I can't remember. I don't recollect. I can't remember. I don't recollect. You're supposed to be running the fucking country, love. And then all the party members, the SNP party members, donate to give the SNP a fund. £600,000 they had. £600,000 went missing, and the boy that done the books went missing.
Oh.
And she ended up with a villa, and you can't tell me that her husband is a heterosexual man. Definitely not. There's no way.
I think they've got some sort of agreement.
Yeah.
You know, I think she's a bagel bumper. You know.
So she's buried in the beaver. She's buried in the beaver.
So I think they've got an agreement, like, you know, we're going to put on this like normal-ish front, and because otherwise, you know, maybe
they
wasn't progressive enough. It is now, though, isn't it? If there was like a fucking tranny couple,
that was only last year, and that money still hasn't been recovered. Yet she has a villa.
Give me 2 minutes, boys. I've got to go and put some bangers in the oven.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I'm going to see what Chief Moody thinks of this here and the audience.
So now we have two vaccines.
No, that's the wrong one.
If some breeds of dogs are smarter than others, why could that not be true for the animals at the other end of the leash? University of Delaware sociologist Linda Gottfredson has been analyzing IQ test scores for the past 2 decades.
There are
The share of ethnic minority children in state-funded schools is now about 1/3. In 20 years from now, on reasonable assumptions, they could well become the majority in our schools. Meanwhile, on a wider scale, there are 3 well-known academic projections which have put the white British population in 40 years' time from now between 55% and 65%. Between 55 and 65%. My lords, that means, whether you like it or not, that our grandchildren would in their lifetimes have become a minority in what I would call their own country. But just think about that for a minute. Is that really what we want to see for the future of our country? Some will say yes, but there's an awful lot of people, especially the less rich, the less comfortable, who would not welcome it at all.
How I get away with playing them, Chief, is I pick them very, very carefully. If you notice, that's Migrant Watch UK.
Right.
They are.
They're actually. Are they
government funded?
Have they got members of Parliament?
Yeah.
I'm seeing that right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. But so Scottish politics. Can I just touch on that briefly, Moody?
Sure.
Is Moody your name? Are you chief of the Moody clan, or is that that's what I wanted to ask? Where's your name come from?
Well, the term, the name Chief Moody was just like an idea that came out just like within a span of a few weeks. So when I was creating this channel, or at least my YouTube channel, I wanted to give myself obviously a username because I was anonymous at that point. So originally I was going to call myself Judge Moody, but I thought, well, I think that's kind of been taken by like 2000 AD or like Judge Dredd comic books or something like that. So I was like, right, I want to still call myself Moody, but I need something with that because it kind of feels naked being called Moody type of thing. So then I was working at a shop at the time, and I remember I don't know if you guys would get this as well in terms of being called Chief, like as almost like a sense of endearment, like all right, Chief, or
yes, Chief, yes, boss, yes, Gaffer, yeah.
So when I first heard that, I was like, oh, wait a minute, Chief Moody. So it just kind of went from there. That's where the name came up from. So
was someone calling you a chief?
What's that? Sorry?
Was someone calling you a chief?
Yeah, so there was a number of customers that were coming in, like, calling me chief, like mainly the guys that would do that.
Okay, so it was retail was it?
Yeah, retail, yeah. So it was something like that. So I was like, oh, that could be like a good idea, like chief with that. But even then, when people do see me, especially with regard to PA related, most of the people would call me Moody, even though it's not like my real name, of course. But it's pretty much now like a nickname at this point, especially people calling me Moody at this point. So, which is it
only occurred to me today, Chief, that it might be your surname because Moody it's a Scottish surname, isn't it? I think it originated in. Might not be. I total stab in the dark, but when I said it in my head, it sounded right.
I think Moody is a Scottish name.
I always thought it was more like an Irish last name, but that's just me.
One of the most famous road racers of all time is a guy called Moody, Jim Moody.
So Scottish politics, do you dip into it, or just like the whole know thy enemy kind of thing? How much do you pay attention to it? Is it important to our people, really, the devolved government?
Well, I do try and pay attention to it as best I possibly can. I think like the best person to maybe to view content like that would be like DJ or Resisting the Lies, because everything he talks about, especially with regard to the SNP, is just absolutely been spot on. So it's just every single time I see the news popping out from the Daily Record or anything like that at all about the SNP, I just keep it just keeps on reminding me like just how bad things really are here in Scotland at the moment. Especially now at this point in time, there's still talks about Indie Ref 2 or like another independence vote, which I mean, for me, like obviously when the vote happened back in 2014, obviously I think we should all maybe move past that at this point. But the SNP don't really like democracy they do like democracy as long as it's their form of democracy. When it's the other way around, if it not goes their favor, then that's when it's like, oh, this is not democracy or anything like that. Kind of like what happened with the whole Brexit vote when the majority of Scotland voted against to leave the European Union. Now we all know what happened during Brexit. Of course, the SNP coming out how this is like the end of democracy. We were never heard of or anything like that at all. It's like, but we're all part of a union at the end of the day. So obviously, it's completely disingenuous from the SNP making points about that. So I mean, it's just I think. There is one good thing to maybe say about the SNP at this point. I think people are when I say people like Scottish people. I think the Scottish people are starting to realize that the SNP are not exactly what they claim to be, which is a shame because I think there was a few years back, I would say that the SNP were actually a Scottish nationalist party. They were proper nationalists to start off with. But then I think maybe just after the first independence vote back in 2014, that's when you kind of started to see a bit of a shift with the SNP, where they were less becoming like a nationalist party, but more becoming like a globalist party. Of course, they'll say that they're not globalist, but they're internationalists. So you may think, well, what the fuck does that even mean, internationalist? What they call it as, so they're a nationalist, but they also care about nations outside of Scotland. So of course, that would explain the whole migrants keep coming in and being called New Scots at the end of the day. But it's just, regarding to the whole independence vote, I mean, I don't want it to happen, especially under the SNP at this point. But if it does happen, they keep saying to the Scottish people that, oh, we're going to have independence, we're going to have another independence vote. But if we do become an independent nation, they'll just have us go right back to the European Union, which, of course, to me, that completely defeats the whole purpose of Scotland being an independent nation. Because when I think of Scotland becoming an independent nation, I instantly think of we have complete control over our borders, our society, our institutions, and all of that. We control our own destiny. But then for the SNP to say that Scotland should be an independent nation, but then go back to the European Union, completely defeats the purpose of being part of having Scotland be an independent nation. But even then, we all know for a fact why they want us back in the European Union. So that is much easier for having the SNP or the Scottish government to have all these migrants keep coming into Scotland much easier and much quicker. That's why they want us back in the European Union, and it's absolutely just disgusting that. I mean, yeah.
Would you not agree that the Scottish National Party, as she'd like to take the nationals out of the name?
Yep.
Plaid Cymru in Wales and Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland. They're not internationalists. They're communists.
No.
And that's all they want is communism across the board.
Right.
Open borders, flooding people in. Like Russia's not even that bad, and they are actually bloody communists. You know, there's no open borders from Russia. We can't rock up there in a dinghy and go, here, Mr. Ivan, Mr. Putin, give us a free house and £300 a week. You know, that's not going to happen.
No.
But they think that's going to happen here. Who do you think is going to pay for it? You know, if the white Scottish...
Well, we know who's paying for it. Everyone who goes out and has to earn a living.
Yeah.
And get,
say there's 300 million pounds in taxes taken every year, just for a figure. That's way more than that. And you have 100,000 pound or 100,000 people divided by that 300,000, divided into that 300,000. What happens when you make it 600,000 people, and 300,000 of them aren't working because they're living in hotels and standing with their hand out? The value of that money halves, and then it halves again, and halves again, and halves again. Look at the house prices at the minute. Look at the mortgage rates. Look at everything else. Look at that fucking non-British Prime Minister, Richie bloody Sunak.
Yeah.
He's so far up Klaus Schwab's arse, Klaus can taste him, And I would say Nicola Sturgis or Jimmy Cranky in drag, and your Welsh fella, can't mind his name. It was something
Drakeford, is it?
Drakeford, Mark Drakeford.
Drakeford, yeah.
With his fucking deviant son.
What's he, a druggie?
No, he was arrested for child something. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Right.
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree and all that.
So, and these people are around the country. It's a fucking joke.
But going back to the money thing as well, it's affecting everyone who pays tax at the moment, because their fears and their things that they worry about aren't being sorted, like crime levels, for example. Cuts in policing, cuts in health services, etc., etc. It's again, I talk about the black hole. It's our children, our children's children, and then I dare I say even further on down the line, it will be burdened with this debt. Just the pandemic thing. We're talking about wastage, the NHS, which is what they're really most famous for, is their wastage. Like,
did you see the video, Jack, of them choreographing their new dances for the winter? Did you?
No,
did you
I
see
can
that?
fully imagine it.
In front of them in all their blues, in front of a camera, starting to do their moves to some other tune. And you can
But that app, that's what I was gonna get onto. The app that they got, the track and trace app, was it some ridiculous amount of billions of dollars, and it just got thrown in the scrapping.
£3.5 billion.
Not I'm saying it was a good thing anyway. I'm not saying that we should have had it, but the fact that they developed it and then just threw it away, and no one really gives a shit either. It appears to me, it's the NHS is held so sacred. You can't not say anything bad about it.
You look at the health service of Scotland. You look at the average age in Scotland. They're dying younger than us. They don't have.
Was it the drug deaths, wasn't it, Chief, that came out? Was it last year?
I think. Yeah, I think it was last year. It was like there was something to do with a higher drug deaths here in Scotland, which of course is absolutely just shocking amount. I can't remember what specific drug it was. I don't know if it was like heroin.
I think it was. I think they were talking specifically, if I remember rightly, they were talking about like street pharmaceuticals, so fake pharmaceuticals, so pills that you get from your doctor for like pain or anxiety and stuff. But the Moody ones that get made, and you don't know what the dosage is. They could be, or you don't know what 100% what's in them either.
Right.
I think that's what they were talking about specifically, if I remember. But yeah, it was. It's deaths of despair, I think they're known as. I don't think a lot of them are intentional overdoses. I think if you've got, and again, they'll all be white and working class Scottish people.
Yeah.
That this is.
But there was one citizen reporter, a Scottish fellow, that went out around Nicola Sturgeon's her district, and the rubbish hadn't been picked off the streets in weeks. He went up these alleys, and the bins had never been emptied in a couple of months, and there's rats this big rolling around your feet. And
Flies, disease, vermin.
The First Minister of Scotland, that's her actual plot. She's supposed to be looking after that. But maybe she can't recall.
She can't
So
recall.
Again, Ragz, I think that's a snapshot of a lot of places. Like up here we had the bins were on strike for 6 weeks, weren't they?
Yeah. Here. Did
it affect you where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Mate of mine came with a trailer, hooked the bins into the trailer, strapped them on, and went up to the dump and just threw them in the dump. When your man says to him, he says,
but not everyone's got that luxury, have they?
They don't have that luxury, and I do have some really good friends. He turned around and says, this man's bins, this fellow's disabled. He can't even get the bin out to the side of the road. And you've left him there with bags and bags and bags and bags of rubbish for weeks and weeks and weeks. He says, I'm fucking dumping it. Do what you like. So,
everyone I spoke to had like these little fruit fly nets everywhere for those 6 weeks. Like they were just everywhere, totally alike. So we're going to start wrapping up now anyway, Chief, because the Tutor and the Saxon are following on from us. We've got a few minutes to go yet. So that's what I was going to ask you earlier. Plans for the future, mate. What are you going to you going to carry on doing? Are you going to do any more speeches, perhaps, or what have you got planned for your podcast, if anything?
Well, I'll still continue on making the podcast as long as I possibly can. I do have some couple of guests lined up. Not like a confirmation they'll come on, but I do have them coming up in the works. In terms of speeches, I mean, it's not been confirmed or anything like that at all, but I would like to do another speech at some point, whether it be another PA conference or in the future or anywhere like that. Or maybe if there's maybe like some nationalist group holding a conference or anything like that at all, and they would like me to give a speech at some point, they could just at me, and then I'll see if we can maybe have a chat with that. Another thing to mention is I keep saying this on my show, but I want to go back to basics with my channel in terms of making regular videos with Moody the Nation as a side thing. I have some ideas I really want to do. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen a video show like by Count Dankler called Absolute Mad Lads.
Yes, I've seen that.
So I like that one. I have an idea. I want to do something with that, but with a nationalist perspective. So they'll have some significant historical figures in the past that I might want to do some form of Mad Lads series type of thing. So we keep seeing like these types of nationalist figureheads having like a very bad reputation from the mainstream media. Well, my idea would be as well, you've seen it from that side of the fence. Why not see or hear about this person from the nationalist side of the fence, like maybe hear from our perspective of why he's so loved and respected, so on and so forth. But other than that, I've just got a few ideas I really want to do, and maybe not later this year, but maybe start of next year, I might possibly want to start doing something like that in the future.
Chief, what's grinding me at the minute, I keep on getting sent links to this and links to that. They always talked about the left. Eating itself, the left always eats itself. The left always eats itself. They always go against each other. Eventually, you watch the right at the minute, and the amount of right-wing parties and the right-wing groups there is out there, and they're as bitchy as two fucking teenage girls in the playground.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of infighting, which is damaging to maybe someone who's looking at it from an outside point of view. Thinking,
it's not good for
optics. Put off by it.
Definitely not good for optics. That's why I'm like the Jeremy Corbyn of the right wing. I'm there, but I'm not involved.
That's fair enough.
You mind him saying that there when he went to lay a reef at some terrorist funeral in Beirut or something? I was there, but I wasn't involved. There's photographs of you doing it. And then the photographs of him marching down the street with fucking Martin McGuinness and Art Garfunkel, Martin McGuinness and Jerry Adams, documented. That's you. No, I wasn't there. Oh, anyway. Oh, there's Chief Moody's channel in the chat, guys. You want to go and give him
Yeah,
a sub?
make sure you go and give it a sub if you're not sub.
He's on twice a week,
check it out.
sometimes 3 times a week. So get over there and give him a sub. And
give him a follow on Telegram. You're on Telegram, aren't you, Chief?
I am, yes. Yeah, I was actually about to say. Yeah, I was about to say, like, Telegram, in terms of like receiving updates from me, and that's possibly the best place for it. So if you want to see an update from me, whether it be future episodes or anything like that at all, definitely follow me on Telegram.
I mean, you're a bit of a Scottish Scarlet Pimpernel. I'm not referring to your red hair or beard or anything. You're just, we seek him here, we seek him there. We can't fucking find him anywhere. The only time I can get hold of you is through, what do you call that freaking shit thing? Twitter. Elon Musk took over. Since he took over, it's a hell of a lot more fun.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
For now. Right, anyway, lads, let's get wrapped up. Ragz, you're back next week. I'm not with you next week. But have you got anything planned for next week, or is it check it back in the week?
I was talking to the Bitnik, but I want you on at the same time, you see, so that makes it a bit difficult. The elusive Scarlet Pimpernel for me is Paz49. Can't get him at all.
Yeah.
He's like hen's teeth. I think I'm a bit too far on the right for him. So, but anyway, folks, I would like to thank Chief for coming. Anybody that donated the chat, massive thank you. Yes, by the way, anybody that has donated to my chat, I am getting a lightweight aluminium chair on Tuesday, and I'm in discussions with my doctors and bits and pieces about having my legs removed at the shins. So I'll need that. Not unless you want to call me Stumpy.
Well, what we do is we're boy racer it up for you though, and give you like a go fast like. Yeah, give you a little 2-stroke engine on it, a little clip front radio. Yeah, gold wing doors.
Before we sign out, guys, I have a video for you. Just if you want that later on, you can contact me and I'll share it with you. And here we go. It's our favorite guys.
History is truly at a turning point.
It's the beginning of a global mobilization effort to rally our forces behind this great reset initiative.
Energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
We will destroy, unfortunately, a lot of employment. The future is already here. It's coming like a tsunami. Just think of sensors planted into our brains. The opportunities are immense, and we have to prepare ourselves already now.
The most important thing to know about the future is that humans will soon be hackable animals.
Elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design.
And they all think we're conspiracy theorists, lads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's out there in black and white. Right, I'd like to thank you all these. God bless, on my case, Odin bless, and I will catch you all next week. I don't know what we'll have on, but we'll get something put together for you, and hopefully we'll all have a great time. Maybe do a call-in show with Packer and stuff. Packer's great, right? So
it was it's really nice to meet you, Chief Moody, man.
Yep.
Yeah, same here. Pleased to meet you too.
Cheers for coming on, Chief. Really appreciate it.
No worries.
We'll play out the Ragz.
I'll catch you in the week, Ragz.
No problem.